In a fancy and big mansion, lays an old sick man on his deathbed. His doctor then announces to his family that the old man, Mr. Wrong, may not make it past tonight at all. Suddenly, the room door opens, and from it comes a young man. He then announces to the people in the room that Wrong only has 13 minutes and 19 seconds left. Shocked, the guards point their guns toward the boy, but he magically speeds up time by 100 times, and time warps next to Mr. Wrong. After introducing himself, he tells him that he is here to sell him a product, which is time. We then see a flashback of Lu's life, which is the same boy we were shown before. His mother sends him a text saying that he could quit his job if it's too overwhelming. He explains how he's such an average minuscule boy in this huge city, and how the society is so harsh. He's tired of this lifestyle, and doesn't want to live this way anymore. Then out of nowhere, a Russian guy bumps into him without apologizing, and then miraculously, Lu's eye turns into a clock. He suddenly knows all the information about the guy that bumped into him, his name, age, and even the remaining lifespan, which is 3 seconds. And to no surprise, a car hits the guy, sending him to oblivion and terminating him instantly. To Lu's shock, he discovers that he's able to see everyone's information displayed above their heads. Lu is totally flabbergasted. He thinks he's hallucinating, but he's not. He then finds out that an old watch has appeared on his palm out of nowhere, and when he pressed it, he paused time. Everyone around him froze in place. When he touched a bypasser, he absorbed some of his soul into his body, and the bypasser's lifespan decreased slightly, and when he pointed toward another bypasser, the absorbed soul went into her body, and her lifespan increased slightly as well. In total amazement, Lu then realizes that he just obtained a superpower, which is time control. It's finally his chance to change his fate in this big city, as time is valuable and everyone needs it. He's sitting in his house wondering about his next customer. He takes out all his savings and goes to a local park. He observes people that are passing by, and tries to sort out the perfect customer, but he doesn't seem to find one. Then he hears someone speak through the phone from a distance. The person is talking about saving up so he could buy his girlfriend an iPhone for her birthday, and coincidentally, the same guy has a lifespan of 65 years, which is just perfect for Lu. When the guy receives his paycheck from his boss, he realizes he still needs to collect more money to get the phone. He goes to a local noodle store and makes an order. As he's sitting, Lu comes up to him and speeds up time for himself as well as the guy. The guy gets scared and asks Lu what does he want from him. Lu introduces himself to him as the vendor. He explains to him how he knows everything about him. Then he offers him a deal, his time for 300,000 yuan. The guy keeps overthinking about this offer, wondering whether or not to accept it, and in the end, he accepts. He signs up the paper and then the portion of his lifetime gets sucked out of his body and goes to Lu. Lu then returns back to the original time speed and give the guy the money as promeed, as well as his business card. He leaves the restaurant and wonders about who will he sell the year to. He does some searching to find a good target, and yep, it is Mr. Wrong. He reckons his family's great wealth will make a good target for him, and so he decides on his next customer. The same night, Mr. Wrong is shown laying down on his deathbed, barely alive. Now back to the previous situation and Lu's offer to Mr. Wrong. Lu reminds them that Mr. Wrong is so close to death, and the family asks Lu for the price. Lu tells them that it's gonna cost them 1/5 of the money they make a year, which is around 100 million. That's a lot of money, but for Mr. Wrong, it would mean nothing compared to time, as it is priceless. Lu then displays Wrong's information in front of them. 5 minutes left until Wrong says bye-bye, and so the family decides to buy Wrong another year of time. So Lu tells Wrong to sign the paper, and when he does, a magical power gets into him and he sits down. His lifespan successfully increased. Mr. Wrong wakes up feeling like he's younger and full of energy. Lu congratulates him before leaving the place instantly. He left a floating note telling the uncle to send the money to said bank account, and the guards are back to normal time. Mr. Wrong is shocked with this ability. Then he demands people come to him so that they keep their mouths shut. The uncle hands Mr. Wrong the note, and he tells him to do as promised and send him the money. Mr. Wrong is in utter disbelief from the abilities of Lu, and he tells his family to befriend Lu. Lu is on a building roof, wondering about his abilities and his future as a time vendor. He soon realizes that he'll need to come up with something when the number of customers increase. He decides he will start a club and call it Eternal Club. So he goes on his journey to find a loyal helper. He gets into a taxi and the driver tries to make up a conversation with him. And while the driver compliments Lu, Lu's phone receives a notification. The money is sent to his bank account, and he's now 100 millions richer. The driver receives an emergency call from his son, and so he has to head there. He apologizes to Lu and tells him he'd have to get another taxi, but Lu tells him to just bring him with him, and that he'll pay the road fee. The taxi driver keeps talking to Lu about his son, but when Lu gets tired, he simply time wraps and leaves the taxi, leaving some money behind. The driver panics and goes out looking for Lu, but the only thing he finds is a note saying that if the driver needs more money, He can contact him, but it's gonna cost him something else. The poor driver bows to the air, while Lou is watching him from a distance. He feels like he'll have his next customer very soon. When Lou comes back home, he finds his roommate laying on a couch. He tries to give her a blanket, but she wakes up and goes to her room instead. Lou ignores it and sits on his desk. He writes some employment codes for his future subordinates. In the morning, Lou wakes up and meets up with his roommate. He tells her that he took a sick leave and would not go to work today. The girl leaves while thinking about how harsh society has been towards Lou. When she leaves, Lou shows that he doesn't even need to work anymore. He heads to a real estate department and meets up with Xiao Chen, a real estate consultant. Lou tells her that he's here to take a look around for real estate. He takes a look at a few cards, when suddenly, his roommate, Yang, walks up to them. Lou explains that he's here to get a new house and look for something suitable. Yang is in disbelief, wondering about his savings and if they're going to get him a house or not. So she sits down and tries offering him suitable houses relative to his salary, but he tells her that they're not what he's looking for at all. So she gets angry and gets up and just tells Xiao to handle him. Xiao comes back to Lou with information on bigger houses this time and introduces them to him, starting with the biggest villa they have. Hesitantlessly, Lou says he'll buy it here and now. Both the girls are in utter shock, as the house costs 50 million yuan, so they think he's simply joking, but he insists that he wants the house now. Xiao rushes to her manager while Yang is still shocked that Lou is buying their most expensive house ever. When the manager arrives, he tells Lou that he needs to pay a 500,000 yuan deposit up front according to the rules. But surprisingly, Lou pulls out his credit card and simply says he will not be making any deposits. He'll buy the entire house here and now. And so Lou is now the owner of the villa. Yang is indeed still shocked from the fact that Lou just bought a 50 million yuan villa. Then she realizes that she's been living with a millionaire this whole time.